We're coming off a bye week, very productive bye week for us. We got a lot of work done after a tough home loss to Tulsa. Again, trying to work on the things that we need to correct, not only for the short term, but for the long term as well. We got 3 quality days of work, and then the main focus on Wednesday was given the younger players that are not playing, the red shirts, the guys that are on scout team that do a good job preparing the teams, an opportunity to go out and scrimmage in a live setting and be evaluated by the coaches just like they would in a normal game setting. There was a lot of energy in that scrimmage, and it was fun to watch the young guys go out and compete.
Rice has got an awfully good run offense. What can you tell us about them? What preparations are being made?
Yeah, well, they're extremely productive, running the ball. They're number 1 in Conference USA. They're ranked nationally. They're close to 230 yards rushing a game. They had almost 400 yards rushing this past weekend against New Mexico State. They have big physical backs. They have 2 backs that are both 235 that carry the load for them, and then they have a quarterback that's outstanding. Actually, 2 quarterbacks that they play that are outstanding running the ball. So they're multiple in their formations. They attack teams differently, it seems, week to week. They change what they do, which makes them even more difficult to prepare for, and they do a nice job executing. I think they're extremely well coached on both sides of the ball, and offensively they present a lot of issues for us. I'm hoping to have Aaron Jones back this week. We'll see how that progresses throughout the week, but it has been moving in a positive direction. I'm hoping to have him, Lufasa, and we'll find out throughout the week about Adam Ayala, defensive lineman, Katre Ford, a tight end, and L.A. Dowell, a running back special teams player that all 3 of those guys we've missed for quite some time now, and we're hoping to have all 3 of them back healthy going into this road stretch.
Coach, record aside, first half of the season in the books, get ready for the second half. Just kind of where the program is now at the start of the year. Well,
obviously we're disappointed with our record, extremely disappointed. But at this point of the juncture, you have to evaluate where you're at and attack the problems that you have. And then you got to focus in on the last half of the season and try to just progressively get better. It's all I talk to the kids about is I'm not, judging you guys on wins and losses or this season on wins and losses. I want to see just continual improvement, both sides of the ball, and kids working towards that improvement on a daily basis. So that's going to be our focus, over the next 6 weeks is just try to improve weekly in small areas, big areas, and compete. That's mainly the thing that we want to emphasize.
Coach, will be the final 6 home games of the season? Does that affect the psyche in any way to perform?
Again, you got to play on the road. You got to play teams no matter where the venue is. To be honest with you, sometimes if you're struggling, going on the road takes away from some distractions and those type things. Going on the road 3 weeks in a row is tough, but sometimes it is okay to get on the road and eliminate distractions where you can just go out and play. But we have a very tough road stretch coming up. 3 excellent teams, all with winning records, all playing extremely well this year. We know that's a challenge, but one that we'll accept and get after.
Overheard you got a chance to see your sons play. How was that?
I sat on my couch and watched the Big Ten Network after watching my daughter play volleyball in the morning. Came back and watched my son Robert play live for the first time this year. They played Michigan State, very tough Michigan State team, and then watched my son Patrick's team, Michigan, play Indiana in an extremely different game. One game was 14-0, the other game was 63-47, I think. And then went from there and watched my daughter's club volleyball game that night. So it was a fun-filled day watching my kids play, and it was very gratifying.
Talking with Coach Bailiff, when he got there, they were pretty bad for a couple of years.
Yeah.
So I asked him how he got what they said. They didn't change what they did. They just stayed the course and did what they did. You kind of look at Rice as a model for what he did.
Absolutely. Again, I think they're very well coached. I think Coach Bailiff's done an unbelievable job there. I knew where that program was. when you're coaching in the NFL, you get to evaluate a lot of teams on film because you're looking at players. And where they've come from a couple years ago is really unbelievable. They're extremely solid on both sides of the ball. And if we were going to use a team for a model of rebuilding a program the proper way, they certainly would be an example for us. And it does take a little time. You have to, stay the course. Certainly one thing we are going to do, and I'm going to be adamant about, is staying the course in everything I believe in that this program can be, and fight and work till we get there.
How well timed was the off week for you?
I'm sorry, I didn't.
How well timed was the off week for you?
Really more from a health standpoint, I think we really needed it, because I think if we played this past Saturday, I don't think that any of the players that I mentioned earlier would have been able to compete in that game, and that would have really put us shorthanded no matter who we played. All the coaches went out on the road. Basically all over the country, and the focus of this recruiting trip was to look at mid-year junior college players. As I've mentioned in the past, we're not going to sign many junior college players around here, but when we do, whether to fill a need or fill a position, we do want to get guys that can come in at midterm where we can have them for spring ball. So in order to do that, we had to get a jump on the road to get out there and do that. And we were looking at some defensive linemen and some junior college tight ends and some linebackers, and we made a lot of headway in that area.
Coach, does it help knowing the game plan when you know what Rice is going to do? They're going to run the rock, and that's one of UTEP's weaknesses.
Yeah, and they're gonna try to run the rock against us too. And again, it's an extreme challenge, not only from the fact that they're physical and they run the ball and they've got physical backs, but from a scheme challenge. They're very multiple. I think Rice does a great job. They have just really smart players that can handle, changing their schemes from week to week. A lot of teams just have to run the same things over and over. And you'll watch them one week and they're more doing some option type things, and then you turn on the next week and they're doing just more basic zone type stuff. And they mix it up and they do a great job of handling that from week to week. That's why they're so efficient running the football.
And also with Aaron, he's kind of a smaller running back. They got big bruisers. What top two teams rushing the conference? How would you kind of get ready for those guys?
Aaron's extremely different from their backs, but man, running backs come in all shapes and sizes, good ones. I'm Aaron Jones' biggest fan. I mean, not only from a football standpoint, if you spent one day with this kid, you'd realize what a great character kid he is. He really exemplifies what we're trying to build with this program. Good student athletes that compete on a daily basis and work hard and basically don't say a word. And, again, this kid is special. He's going to get better and better with, the strength program. And, here's a kid that played 3 sports in high school that really never had a chance to stop, and just, wind down and lift weights and do those things. And even just over the progression of the summer, he added 15 pounds just because it was really probably the first time he stopped and lifted weights. And his brother's in the same category. And again, I can't say enough things about Aaron Jones and what his future holds. And I'm excited for the young man.
You're probably not big on stats, but given that there's not a lot to play for, with him winning a national freshman rushing title,
well, and no disrespect, I think there's a lot to play for from week to week. I don't care what your record is. In the game of football, there's new opportunities each week, and we're going to go out there and try to challenge and accept those opportunities and get after it each week. But for a young man like him, he does have a lot to shoot for. If he was the leading rusher in the conference or the leading freshman rusher, those are great individual accolades that I'm sure, we'd all be proud of for him, because it's not just the running back when things like that are attained. It's the offensive line, the tight ends, the receivers getting in there, blocking. There's a lot that goes into somebody being productive in the run game. But certainly, of course, we want to see him do the best he can in every category, but there's certainly a lot to play for us. Anybody got anything else?
Yeah, one more question. How do you guys have started off pretty slow defensively. Is there anything you can say or do at this point?
Say or do, probably not, but what we're going to try to do is we're going to go more up-tempo practice periods and do it at the beginning of practice rather than the middle of practice, just to get the kids used to coming out right from stretch and getting into a live setting where, again, as duly noted, we have started slow, in particular on the defensive side of the ball, and then they've settled into the game, which tells me they can do it. I don't have the extreme answer for that, whether maybe it's youth or those type things at certain positions, but we have to do something about it, and we're going to try to attack that in practice by upping our tempo earlier in practice so these guys get a better feel for doing it sooner.